This episode of the Hindman Cast is brought to you by the Read Spotted Newt. The Read Spotted Newt is a locally owned independent bookstore located in downtown Hazard, Kentucky, specializing in Appalachian literature from authors such as Silas House, Gurney Norman, and Annette Clapsaddle, among many others. The Newt also offers art and gifts from local Appalachian crafters. Check out their brand new store located at 221 Memorial Drive in Hazard, or shop online through bookshop.org, and follow them on Facebook and Instagram at the handle Read Spotted Newt. Now on to the show. Welcome to the Hindman Cast, a podcast of the Hindman Settlement School, where we explore the history, culture, and people that make the Hindman Settlement School what it is today, and how this historic institution will continue to serve its mission of celebrating heritage and changing lives in Central Appalachia. I'm Corey Terry.
And I'm Jordan Collins.
And welcome to episode number 5 of the Hindman Cast. And we are in our studio today. We were actually traveling this week, trying to do some podcasting. And we went to Lexington, and that didn't work out for us, did it, Jordan?
Yeah, big power outage, fail.
Yeah.
Solid fail.
So we had a different interview lined up this week and drove to Lexington for it. And the power went out in the one building that we were in, and only for the hour that we were there to record. So
yeah, it's par for the course.
Yeah, that's how that went this week. So I will not tell you what that episode was going to be, because it will hopefully be the next episode, and so stay tuned for that. It's going to be a good one. But this week, we have a very special guest, a fan of the podcast, and we are happy to have her with us today, Miss Mandi Fugate Sheffel. Is that how you say your last name? Sheffel, okay. And Mandi is the owner of the Read Spotted Newt in Hazard, a bookstore there, a local bookstore. And she has a pretty interesting story with the Hindman Settlement School and how all that came about. So we want to talk to her about that today, and also just promote her business. She's had a very interesting year. 2020 is not a good year to start a business, but she has trucked through it and seems to be growing and thriving in it. So we will get to that later on. So Mandi, tell us a little bit about your background and where you're from, which is... You're from Knott County, right?
I am. Red Fox.
Okay, yeah. So tell us a little bit about your younger years, going to school, and how you got to where you are today.
The origin story.
Right. Yeah. Because I am a fan of the Hindman Cast, I'm familiar with the origin story.
She gets our little terms we have.
I mean, everyone should. They're catchy.
Thank you all for inviting me on, too. Like I said earlier, I was secretly hoping from episode 1 that the call would be coming to the Newt for the Hindman Cast. So I was born and raised here in Knott County. Grew up in Red Fox. Went to elementary school at Carr Creek. Graduated from Knott County Central. I won't share what class, but...
Oh, I know. I was at your graduation. Because it was also my brother's graduation.
Right. So and the funny part is, I guess... I mean, I've always been a reader, but there were periods in my life where I didn't read, just because in college I didn't read a whole lot for pleasure. I mean, it was mostly academic reading. So
I think I'm at that point right now.
Yeah. I mean, there are just times in your life where you just don't have time to read. It's just not practical. But I mean, it's always been a love. And the funny part is that I guess the Hindman Settlement School has always also been a part of my life. I just didn't realize it. Like we were talking about Mr. Young coming to school. And I guess I don't realize that was the affiliation there. Yeah. That he was probably coming through the settlement school out to the elementary schools. So I benefited from the settlement school in ways that I wasn't aware. And I think I'm going to speak for myself. I think a lot of times here in Knott County, we almost take the settlement school for granted. And I'm happy to say that in my adulthood that I'm so proud of it, and it has impacted so many lives, and I can see that now. And so I'm happy to be a part of anything that happens here. And, just the longevity of the school itself, to see that it carries on. But so after high school, I kind of floated around, wasn't sure what I wanted to do. And I ended up with a master's in science from Eastern after I only recently got that about 5 years ago. I ended up getting married, just kind of worked odd jobs, had a son who's 8 now. And then I decided after I had him that I was going to go back to school, that I was going to finish my degree. So I go to Eastern. Environmental science has always been my passion. I think growing up in this area, it kind of makes naturalists out of all of us, whether we're even aware of it or not. I mean, it's a part of our daily lives, and it's still something that I try to make a part of my daily life. So I wanted to be back home. I knew that I wanted to come back here. I had no luck in finding a job. There just wasn't a whole lot available with my degree,
right?
Aside from teaching. So this feels like a brief summary. I feel like I'm skipping around. But so after I came back home, I was a stay-at-home mom, so I just kind of continued to do that. And I thought, if something comes, it comes. I'll just kind of hang out until I can find a job. I had, in the meantime, I had some events in my life that were influential in my writing, I'll say. So I started writing probably about 8 years ago. And I didn't really share it with anybody. It was more journaling. It was more of a healing process kind of thing. And so I actually ran into Gurney Norman at a reading at Hazard Community College in April of 2019. And I was telling him about my grandpa who played basketball at Carr Creek High School and how every time you would go to visit him, it would be a Carr Creek glory days story. and anybody from this area knows, the legacy that is Carr Creek basketball. And so he loved nothing more than to talk about that. So Gurney was like, "Are you writing this down? Are you writing these stories down? Because somebody needs to tell these." And I'm like, "Well, no, but I have my own stuff that I'm writing down." And so he's like, "Yeah, send it to me." Well, I was floored because I was fangirling anyway over Gurney Norman. So I immediately go home that night and send it to him. He gets back to me that night at like midnight. He reads it, emails me straight back, and was like, "You've got a natural voice. You need to keep writing. This is something you need to do." Well, I was shocked. So I had a pretty good amount of material, and so the natural progression was to apply for the Appalachian Writers Workshop in May. And I was actually late getting my application in because everything happened so quickly. And I kind of sent an email begging for my material to be read.
I was trying to connect I was like, wait, this was in 2019. But I was like, 2020 didn't happen. But okay.
Yeah.
I see it was in April, and now the Writers Workshop was.
So I ended up getting in, came in July to the Writers Workshop. And I totally didn't feel like I belonged here at all. I didn't consider myself a writer, and these people were serious writers, notable authors. I wasn't sure that I belonged here, but it was a very welcoming environment. I was just overwhelmed at how nice everybody was. And so after that week, it was life-changing. It really was. And I'm not just saying that because I'm sitting at the Hindman Settlement School. It really was. And I made friends that I'm in contact with daily right now because of the Hindman Settlement School. And it gave me a community of writers that I didn't even know I needed until I came here. And I thought, after I left, I was like, what a waste this is that we don't have. We have all this talent in Appalachia and Kentucky and Eastern Kentucky, and there's really nowhere for writers to share their goods. We promote a lot of other art, but why don't we have a bookstore?
Mm-hmm.
That was basically, that's the only way to say it. I left here thinking, why don't we have a bookstore? Mm-hmm. I want to buy some of this literature that I've been hearing all week, I have no place to go to buy it. I have to go to Lexington. Yeah. And I think growing up in Eastern Kentucky, we kind of went to Lexington for everything, and it was always exit through the bookstore kind of situation, where it was like, we're going to do all this other shopping, and then we're going to stop at the bookstore. Or that's what I always did.
I think that's a real shame. We're often overlooked, but we're a jewel of Kentucky, and then people are just like Lexington or Louisville. That's the place to be. Here's the place to be.
Oh, I agree.
To find the good stuff.
Totally.
So
agree. So from there, I went home. I talked to my husband. I was like, I think I want to open a bookstore. And he thought I was crazy. Number one, he's not a reader. And he was like, nobody even reads a physical book anymore. That doesn't even happen. And I'm like, yes, it does.
I think there's a very strong coalition of people out there that are anti-screen Kindle reading. Like, I don't like that.
I don't like it. Never. Won't even attempt it.
I've been doing some textbook reading on a Kindle. It's on my iPad, but on the Kindle app, it's so hard to highlight. It's like, this would be so much easier if I just had a highlighter and could just highlight.
Yeah.
When I was in college, that's all you did was read things that they had scanned in, and it's just, it gets exhausting.
Yeah.
Reading from a screen.
Yeah, I don't like it.
And I don't think the retention is as high either when you read from a screen as you do a physical book.
Because you got the kinetic feeling of the book, too.
Yeah. The more senses that you can engage, the more likely you are to remember it.
You also have the distraction of something dinging every once in a while.
Oh, yeah.
Potentially,
right.
Depending on what you're using and taking
you away from it. Or
back and
forth to Facebook. I mean, everything, no matter what I'd go to do electronically, always ends up on, all paths lead to Facebook. So he thought I was nuts.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, I think this can work. I can't be the only person in this area who likes a bookstore. Just a book nerd, basically, So I started, just kind of making notes, plans about what I wanted to do, started researching other bookstores, seeing what kind of things they were doing, what I liked, what I didn't like. So silently, I was in the background plotting it anyway. And I started looking for spaces in Hazard.
So this would have been like the Writer's Workshop was in July, and you started planning all this.
This was August, September, probably.
Yeah. You moved fast.
I did. Yeah. Well, yeah. Sometimes that's a good thing. Other times it's not. So, I guess I found a space in Hazard. Hazard kind of felt like the natural hub. I live in Jackson from Knott County, so it just seemed like Hazard was a good central location. You've got it.
It's got the Walmart, so
I didn't want to say it, but yeah, it's got the Walmart.
we know what we do. It's okay.
An awesome downtown community going on. Lots of people getting involved and doing
that's a draw.
things.
I'm not going. Yeah,
I love what they're doing down there. I haven't been down there since. There's been some murals painted and stuff. I haven't been down there since those.
I went last night.
I've seen pictures. They look awesome.
They're super cool. Yeah. And much props to Bailey Richards, the downtown coordinator, because she's moving and shaking, and she's making it happen. So
it's great.
Yeah, I really there's some things happening in Hazard, and I think this is just the beginning. And that was another draw. That was another appeal to all this, is that I felt like I was on the ground floor of something that was happening.
Mm-hmm.
So I found a space that was tiny. It's like 150 square feet. So that meant low overhead. Mm-hmm. And I thought, we'll just see. We don't have to sink a bunch of money into it. It's not a huge space. The rent was right. So I just went for it. And it's really not stopped since then.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about how it all got started. What was the inspiration behind the Read Spotted Newt name? Where did that come from?
Again, like I said, nature is my first passion and love. And the Read Spotted Newt was something that, as a kid, I always had an aquarium on my front porch for all kinds of various things that I would catch and bring home.
Sounds like my kids.
Yes. And that was my favorite thing to do. And the Read Spotted Newt in particular was my favorite. So my grandpa lived close by. He was our neighbor. And he would always say, Mandi, if you keep things in captivity, they will grow to double their size. Like you can't keep things in captivity. He was not about the aquarium. So there's another newt that's orange that's in eastern Kentucky, but it's larger. It's a salamander, and it's larger than the red spotted newt. So overnight, he switches them out, and I'm probably 8 at this point. So overnight, he switches them out, and I get up the next day thinking that this thing has tripled in size. So I'm completely freaked out. That was pretty much the end of my catching anything and keeping it in captivity. And so he's passed away now, but it was kind of a nod to him, that that story is just, that is his personality. That's
hilarious.
There's
always those like jokester grandpas.
Oh yeah, he was a good time.
Yeah.
If he wasn't trying to tell you how to play basketball. So, so that's kind of the origin of it. And I wanted it, I kicked around like, Sheffel booksellers or whatever booksellers. And I wanted it to be more unique. I felt like it needed something and some character. And there wasn't really a bookstore in Hazard historically, because I was going to go back and use whatever name I could find for previous bookstores, but there wasn't one. So I crudely drew up the logo, and it's really embarrassing. And I sent it to Bailey, and I was like, this is kind of what I'm looking for. And so she comes back with what is my logo now.
Oh, really?
And she was like, what do you think about this?
So does she design logos? Or does she get somebody else to do it?
I think she did it. Yeah.
I need a logo.
I don't know if she's on the market, but she did mine. And I was like, that's perfect. That's it. Yeah. So and originally it was RED. And then my aunt was actually like, well, why don't you can play on that word red. Why don't you do READ? Mm-hmm. And I thought, yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah, it is.
And my husband added the glasses. Originally, the newt didn't have the glasses, and he was like, Mandi, obviously he needs glasses. I'm like, yeah, that's genius. So
it's like you planted that seed, and everyone came and watered it, and then you got the red spotted newt out of it.
Absolutely. There were some naysayers, but I wasn't hearing any of that. My mind was made up, and it, if it bombed, it bombed. I was okay with that. But I felt like I at least need to take the chance.
Yeah. That's awesome. What day did you get officially open?
January 28th.
January 28th.
Of 2020.
And then March happened. Wait, well, first, before that.
7 days later.
You got some interesting.
7 days later.
Before that.
It flooded. Yeah. 2 feet of water.
How did it even flood there? It doesn't seem like it's close enough.
No, that's the lowest point in town. It floods there first.
Really?
Which I knew that going in. And there's some drainage issues there. It kind of comes up in the road.
It's not from the river technically, or is it just
it was
drainage
both.
Issues?
It was both in this situation, but there are some drainage issues. But I actually sat and watched it come across the road. The city police come, and I'm like, all right, at what point do I need to panic? At what point, like, when do I leave? And he said, well, when it gets to the road, you probably need to get out of here. So I watched it come across the parking lot, get to the street. And then everybody still, because people were just all over the place, freaking out. And they're like, nah, it's not going to get in the building. It's not been in this building in 11 years. It's not going to get in. This is not going to happen.
Yeah. Then it came in force.
Yes, it did. And so my mom came, and we got everything up off of the floor, onto the higher shelves. And then I guess later that night, I went ahead and went home because I feel like I've done all I can do. If it gets any higher than like 4 foot, like table height, right. I don't know what we're going to do anyway. Yeah. So I go ahead and go home. I think she went back in after I left and moved them up even higher. So, and then it stayed all night and then finally receded the next day. And we went in and we packed everything out and moved it because of the moisture, because even that would be crucial. So we pack everything up, we move everything out 7 days after I'd opened.
So did you lose anything?
Or I didn't. I didn't lose anything. There was some shelving damage, but I didn't lose any merchandise. And the building owners were great. They came in, they had like 3 days. They had it cleaned up. I was ready to go by the next week. So
what did that do to your mental stability at that point? Were you like, oh no, this was a bad idea? Or was you still resolute?
For the most part, I was still on board. I mean, I did have a moment in the car going home where I was like, I had worked for weeks to get this together. I mean, because I had all this locally made merchandise. So I had traveled everywhere meeting with artists, like to Whitesburg to meet with Lacey Hill. I came over here to the Artisan Center and met with Kim, who makes pottery. I mean, I had went out and visited people to try to, get a mix of gifts to go with the books. I mean, I also sell art and gifts. So, and I wanted them to be local. That was my whole goal, was to give local artists somewhere to sell their merchandise, whether it be a writer, painter, sculptor, potter, whatever the situation. Candle makers.
I remember Amber got up with me about selling bread.
Bread, yeah.
I don't know what I said back to her, but it was probably like, I'm too overwhelmed with that, maybe.
She's an unofficial employee. She's always on the lookout for new merchandise. Yeah. So
I like baking bread, but baking it in large quantities is overwhelming. Right. So I'm just kind of like, people ask me to do something, I'm like, that sounds great, but I'm too tired.
I mean, you've been looking for that side hustle, Corey. That could be your answer.
But the side hustle is supposed to have me not do anything but get paid while somebody else does the work. That's the plan.
I'm still looking for that, too.
I think we all are.
Yeah. So that's not... We've been brainstorming.
My revenue is not there yet.
Yeah. So I don't know if that'll ever happen for me, but maybe someday.
So I guess... I mean, I had a moment. I did, obviously. I mean, it was just... I was exhausted anyway, and it was just so much work. And I thought, here it goes. I mean, just as quick as it came, it's going to go.
Yeah, and I remember seeing that, and I was just like, that's terrible.
And they kept wanting to interview me for the news, and I was like, I just can't. I just can't do that right now, But, I mean, I had so much support from the city. I mean, everybody just rallied around. I felt like the bookstore was going to be an important part of downtown, and they made me feel that way. So I was like, all right, I've just got to stick this out, it's got to happen. So... And I got publicity because of it. I mean, I had a.
Did you end up doing an interview with WYMT?
I did an interview with WYMT.
I did one
with the Hazard Herald. I did one with a newsletter out of Louisville that was a bookseller's newsletter. She called. I did an interview with her. And so the support was just overwhelming. And I thought, well, I can't give up. I've got so many people that are so excited about this, and obviously my vision hadn't even been close to met. It's still not, because this year has been a disaster.
Yeah, so that's the next blow in your dreams. March happened.
Yeah, then comes COVID in March, and I guess it was March 17th, maybe. I had to close. I'm trying to remember when
it was somewhere around there.
The retail.
I remember getting my hair cut like March 6th, and people in there talking, I think it's getting ready to get bad.
Yeah. So we were shut down to all in-store shoppers. And I guess that lasted, I don't know. I don't remember. A couple months. Was it May before we were released?
Probably something like that.
It's all a blur this year. It's just all together at this point. I mean.
So I had no website. Obviously, hadn't even had a chance to even remotely think about that. So I had no way to sell online, and I just started selling literally out of the front door. I started doing curbside service. People would just pull up to the front door. They would just kind of shoot me messages on Facebook. I'd put stuff out on Facebook. They'd shoot me a message, and it was just a drive-through. I did a drive-through bookstore.
That's some ingenuity for sure.
And shipping, I shipped a whole lot, because people from everywhere because the story had gotten out about this bookstore in Eastern Kentucky, like it became a thing, and so people started ordering. Everybody that I had went to the writer's workshop with, I was shipping books out to everybody. And again, the Hazard Herald came, WYMT came, the Herald Leader came, Lexington Herald Leader came out for the pandemic. So I still was just like, I never got down about any of it because I had all these people around me just, you have to do this. We need this. You have to do it. You know, just keep going. So I did, and it ended up working out okay. I think a lot of people maybe who didn't have time to read, who had been readers, started reading again.
Yeah.
During quarantine.
I can't say I had that time. Like, most people got to stay home for work. I had to go. I was running the farm at that time.
Yeah.
I could social distance there all day. I was out there hoeing up corn and all that good stuff all the time. But
I mean, at that point, all my classes had gone online at UK, so it was just mostly that. It was a weird time. Still is a weird time.
Yes, it is. But at least we can kind of. Are you having people in your store right now, or is it? I remember for a while it was like one person at a time or something like that. Is it still doing that?
In the old store, I only had space. I felt like for one shopper. So now that I've moved, I have a little more freedom to have more shoppers in. So yeah, I'm. Of course, you know, everybody wears a mask and they're pretty accepting of if it's full, they'll just kind of wait outside. You know, everybody seems to be okay with social distancing and being able to shop inside. So let's talk a little bit about your location change. What brought that about? And there's a little bit of, what's the background of that little building there? It's an awesome looking little spot. So I'm trying to think of when. I mean, I knew, or I hoped, I won't say I knew, I hoped that I would outgrow that space I was in fairly quickly. Mm-hmm. So it was always in the back of my mind. I was always looking at buildings in Hazard, like where would I wanted to stay downtown. Obviously, that was a given. But I kept looking for where's my next move. I was working with Bailey, you know, what are we going to do? I just kept driving by the Welcome Center. My mom lives in the backwoods, so I would drive by it all the time. And I thought, you know, it just sat there empty. Mm-hmm. And it's such a cool building. I mean, it's mid-century modern. It's got the cool neon welcome sign lit up all the time.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It's got so much character, and I thought that is the perfect place for a bookstore.
I've passed that my entire life and had never known what it was until today. I did not know it was a welcome center.
Well, and I don't know that anybody can give you a straight story on what it is. So I've been told that it was built the same time as the La Citadel, and when people would come from out of town, they'd have a hard time finding their way up on the mountain. So they would stop there and check in, get all their tourist info about Hazard and Perry County, and then go up the hill to the La Citadel. So I think that's why it was originally built. Wow. I've heard it was Mayor Gorman's office at one time. I've heard it was the police station at one time. But nobody can really give you, I guess it was just kind of jack of all trades. It was just whatever they needed it to be. Obviously, the Black Gold Committee was there for a long time. And so I just made a phone call to somebody at the city, and I was like, what's the deal with this building? And that kind of put it in motion. And
so you're added to its repertoire. It's just a bookstore. Yeah, it's a bookstore now. So
that's awesome.
And it obviously increased the space dramatically. so that helped. I always felt like in the old store that I feel like a bookstore is a place you would come and spend some time.
Yeah.
And that space didn't provide that. Mm-hmm. And I would watch people be in there shopping and somebody else would come in. I could see them feel rushed and they would leave. And I thought, this is not what I wanted. This is not it.
Yeah.
So
gotta have somewhere to sit down and do some reading, a little bit of reading.
I mean, people want most, and sometimes people know exactly what they want. They come straight in, get the book they want, and they leave.
Yeah.
But then there are occasionally shoppers who they don't know what they want when they come in, and they just want to spend time in a bookstore with books. So I wasn't providing that space, and I knew it. And that's why in the back of my mind, I was never satisfied on Main Street. In the back of my mind, it was what's next. And I'm still thinking what's next. I still am like, okay, where are we going to put the next one? That's, in the back of my mind. So
just out of curiosity, where would you put it? That's just what are you looking for? What's your dream location?
I mean, I think I'm in my dream location.
Okay.
I mean, and once I got to the Welcome Center, I think there was just as much fanfare over that building as there was the bookstore. And the fact that they came together, I mean, people have lost their minds, which is a good thing for me. I mean, the people who would have never been in that building. That's the first thing everybody says. I've lived here all my life. I've never been in this building. And so I think maybe the building gets as much draw as the Read Spotted Newt. I have a couple of ideas. I don't know that I want to share locations.
Somebody else might try to get it.
Right, yeah. So, but I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibility if,
So I think there's like a gas station. Is there like a little gas station around the corner from you that has like garage doors and stuff like that?
Yeah.
I think Jenny Williams was talking to me about starting a bakery or something there one time.
Everyone's after your bread.
It sounds really
that's genius.
It sounds really great, but then also like that makes me tired just thinking about it.
Well,
but maybe someday that might happen. I mean, me and Jordan and Josh talk all the time about starting a pizza place. So,
yeah,
that's on the DL. Corey.
We can't can't give all our ideas away on here.
No. I got secret recipes.
But I got a couple. Every place I go now, I'm looking for the bookstore. Do they have an indie bookstore? Is this a place I'd like to put an indie bookstore?
Yeah.
I mean, literally everywhere we went.
Have you ever been to, I think it's Carmichael's up in Louisville?
I've not been to Carmichael's.
I used to live like right down the street from that.
Yeah, Carmichael's has been nationally recognized too. I mean, it won Indie Bookstore of the Year, I think, at one point.
Oh, really?
So, yeah.
It's a nice little spot.
Well, I think it's time to take that title.
Yeah.
Read Spotted Newt.
I would love that.
I mean, you're on the Hindman cast now talking about it.
That's
so
true.
You're going to go get really famous after this.
It's about to happen.
This is the path up for sure. But you just got started. You've dealt with some adversity. What's your plan with the holidays? I mean, what's
coming up?
Yeah.
So I had that's a good question. I probably should I should probably come up with something. My timing for the move has made it even I've made it even harder on myself. But I wanted to get in before Black Friday. I had a great Black Friday and Small Business Saturday. Everybody that comes in, they're all about shopping local. I mean, that seems to be a thing this year. And I hope people will. I hope if COVID did anything, it made us appreciate where we are. Because I have felt like this whole time how fortunate we were, especially in March and April when things just seemed so unsure. Like we weren't sure. I think we know more now about it, but I thought, I can get outside and walk around. I mean, I can walk around with a mask all day in the holler that I live in and not come in contact with anybody else. And I just kept thinking about New York and how,
just locked up.
They were just locked up, yes. And so the appreciation for here, I mean, I already had it, but I think this year has even, it's set in even more that how fortunate we are to be here. And I can see that in people coming to shop. And that makes me want to take, what can I do next for the customer? Because they are so appreciative of me. I mean, I think the feeling is mutual. Like, I'm so happy they're coming, and they feel the same way about the store. So I try to have a personal relationship with everybody that comes in and shops. And I already have regulars that come in, weekly, a couple times a month or whatever. And when I'm ordering or when I'm looking for books, I always have people in mind. And I think, so-and-so would like this. And I think, because, of course, I get people who come in and they're like, I can get this on Amazon for half of this.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, I can't compete with Amazon. But there's a lot of things that I can offer that Amazon can't.
Yeah.
Like a warm place to read a book.
Something cool. Because there's nothing else cool at the time. Right. If you go to Amazon for everything.
And there are so many things, really the main thing I wanted to do was to provide a place for writers. I wanted to have a writers group at the store. I wanted to have poetry nights. I have so many friends. The amount of books that have been released this year that haven't had a proper book tour is sad to me that things have had to be virtual. I mean, because that was a big part of what I wanted to do. I wanted to bring writers in, and because that just doesn't happen very often here. Mm-hmm. And I try to think about the writer who is 10 years old right now, or in high school, or, that may stumble upon this event, and it may change their life. I mean, because it gives them an example. You see a writer and you think, hey, that's something I can do. And I still haven't even got to tap that market at all.
Yeah. My oldest daughter, she if she's not, playing or something like that, she is writing her own little books
That's perfect.
Illustrating her books all the time. She's wrote some pretty good stories. There was one called The Bravest Fear, and I was like, that's profound.
Yeah, that's some good stuff.
That was 6 years old. Was she 6 years old at that point? I was like, dang.
Maybe she needs to be teaching a writer's workshop classes.
That's true.
I literally think that she's going to be some sort of author in her future, or illustrator of some sort. I posted on Facebook the other day a drawing that I did of a cat and a dog, and the drawing that she did of a cat, and I was like, which one was mine and which one was the 8-year-old's? And everybody knew which one was mine. It was the terrible one. So, but yeah.
But that's the thing. I mean, I think that in the back of my mind, we have a rich history here. I mean, I grew up with James Steele and Jesse Stewart. I mean, those names were Gertie Norman. Yeah. Those names were talked about in my home, and I actually just went by the James Steele cabin yesterday. I had a friend here from Knoxville that I met here at Hindman. We kind of did a tour to Knott County yesterday, and that cabin was on the route. So, but I mean, I think it's an important tradition to carry on. And I think a bookstore was just the big gaping hole that
that's awesome,
that needed to be filled.
Yeah, I'm excited. So just thinking when you're talking about how all these authors have promotion and traction. Just thinking about, or I'm the social enterprises director now, and things that we're planning on doing with our Fireside Industries imprint to sort of help that out, and excited about opportunities to collaborate on that. So we need to talk about that sometime soon.
This is the bridge right here.
So I'm all about an event. And I mean, and the whole year of 2020, I've just been wringing my hands because I'm like, I just want to have a party. I just wanted to, I got to have an opening party with Gurney and Emily Hudson, a poet from Hazard. We did an opening event with them, and that was that was in February. And then
you've done some online readings and stuff.
I did, I have done some virtual events, but to me, it's just not. Yeah, it's not the same. I mean, as being able to be there and see an author, acknowledge them, have them sign your book.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun when we.
I'll look forward to that
when we can break free from this bondage.
Maybe
lots of fun.
Maybe the 1 year anniversary. That's. That party.
Maybe. Yeah, possibly.
That'd be great. Let's just start this over. 2021 is going to be better. No flooding, no coronavirus. All right, so let's get to some lightning round questions just to sort of get to know you a little better.
Okay. I'm a little nervous.
You're actually getting it pretty easy compared to some people that's been on here.
They're real brain rackers most of the time, but I think we did okay.
They either make you think or they're just really weird. You just never know what to expect. First of all, what is your favorite book?
Oh, my gosh. Why would you do that to me? Oh.
Or top 5, whatever you want to do.
Let's do top 5. And I may not.
Or 3, top 3.
Top 3. Let's do top 3. So I think a life, I don't know about a life, but game changer for me. When I loved Appalachian literature my whole life. But when I read Clay's Quilt by Silas House, that was like modern day Appalachia. When I read that, I guess it's coming up on its 20th birthday pretty soon. So that kind of tells my age a little. But I read that book and I was like, everything I had read is like 20s, 30s, 40s era books, And some of that I could relate to. A lot of it was, stories like my grandparents had told or storytellers that I knew. But Clay's Quilt, I hadn't read anything like that before. So that changed things for me. And then I feel the same way about Trampoline by Robert Gipe.
Yeah.
Because Don Jewel is my age. And, you know, when I read that, again, it was a lot of my experiences, you know, especially addiction in this region and the way he handled that, family dynamics. Because of that, you know, I was blown away by that. Really looking forward to Pop coming out. I think it comes out in February, which is the third book of that trilogy.
Oh, yeah.
I'll have to look into that. I heard of
Trampoline, Weed Eater, and Pop. And then I'm going to have to say, and these are all Appalachian Lit, which, you know, I mean, my obvious answers would be like To Kill a Mockingbird, but I'm gonna give you my App Lit.
Yeah, give us some
top
clout.
3. So I'm gonna give a shout out to Annette Clapsaddle's book that was released this year, Even As We Breathe.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's another one of those books that's going to stand out as it's culturally significant, and I mean it's just a fabulously written story, and I think it gives us a perspective that we haven't heard yet. And I think to me those are the kinds of books that change the face of literature. When you hear from somebody that you haven't heard from yet, because there are only so many stories to tell. Yeah. I mean, really. And so when you give a voice to somebody who hasn't had one, to me, that's when, you know, that's where the cold chills come from, where you're just like, this is amazing.
Appalachia's a diverse place, so I mean, it's nice to show that and see that in literature, especially.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to reading that. We just got some in stock the other day, my plan is to have all the books that come out through the Fireside Industries imprint, have the author on the podcast, and to do all kinds of stuff with that. So, but this came after that happened, so I need to backtrack and get her on the podcast too. So
yeah, you do.
Just go ahead and forewarn you,
all right.
if she's listening, that we're going to ask you at some point to be on the podcast. All right. All right. This is an important question. While you are reading your favorite book, are you sipping on coffee or tea?
Neither.
I was getting ready to say, probably not coffee because you didn't accept my invitation for coffee.
Neither. Yeah, I'm not a hot beverage girl.
Yeah, and
it felt very, like, this setting feels very hot beverage. Like I should have.
It's a
I brought water, and this is not even typically what I mean. I hate to sound too Eastern Kentucky, but I'm a pop drinker. So,
what's your favorite pop then?
Oh no! See, if you'd asked me like 3 years ago, I would have said Mountain Dew.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So,
I've never been a Mountain Dew guy.
But it's Diet Dr. Pepper now. Because I mean, when you get old, you have to make some healthy choices.
I like Dr. Pepper, but Diet Dr. Pepper I don't know.
I know Mountain Dew is terrible for me, but
it's
delicious.
I mean, it is
delicious.
It is.
I don't not like it. I just always went for Dr. Pepper instead. But yeah.
So I felt like in March I'll hit a milestone in age, and I think I thought I should start drinking coffee.
I think you
should.
Like
that seems like something I should do.
I mean, I am a certified addict. If I don't drink coffee, I get headaches. So that might be something to consider, but I highly encourage it.
I'm
it's
already,
worth it.
Yeah, I think my caffeine intake's already there.
That's true.
So, I mean, it would really just be switching to coffee. And everybody, when I talk about a bookstore, it's like they have to go hand in hand. Like, well, are you going to sell coffee? Is there going to be a coffee shop?
Yeah.
And I'm thinking,
well, that's what
it's not in the works right now.
My thought was a good combination of a cafe with good bread and a bookstore.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if not coffee, then tea. I'm pushing this, I think, because I want a coffee shop and a bookstore.
But now I enjoy some carbs, so maybe the bread is the way to go.
I do.
Books
love
and
carbs.
Bread has a ring to it.
Oh, you could do muffins too.
My age-old enemy.
Yeah.
All
right.
Okay.
This might reveal some things.
Oh yeah. I'll hit this one. So, what's your biggest pet peeve? What really grinds your gears?
know. I mean, I have an answer that came up, but I don't know that I'm...
It's like, should I share this one?
Yeah, exactly. That's tough.
I'll share mine. Maybe it'll spark your brain. People leaving their shopping carts in the middle of the parking lot.
Yeah.
That's the worst.
Being inconsiderate, that's a big one. Just in general. There's people that are inconsiderate. I don't know. Am I too easygoing? Maybe that's the problem. I just like,
just don't care.
Whatever. You just
I wish I had a little more of that in me.
Thing.
Yeah, see, I have so many pet peeves that we can't get started. So that's just so many.
I don't. I like open-mindedness. I think is very important, and I think forming an opinion before you have a personal experience or all the facts. Yeah. That's a pet peeve of mine. I think you need to be open to.
For sure.
That's solid. Also a good lesson for our listeners. So.
Yeah.
And I think it's happening to us right now. That's why I'm saying that. I think it's relevant to our region right now.
Yeah. I prefer to just not formulate an opinion and just let everybody else fight it out. And I'll just be like, get over here, guys.
I'm the opposite. I'm the one fighting it out.
No, I'm not fighting it out. Yeah. No.
Like I'll stay over here in my sane corner, and you guys, you go over there. Do your thing.
Yes.
I've always been more inclined towards the insane, so it's
Well, I shared a meme this morning on Facebook that was sort of the same thing, where it was like everybody's over here arguing about politics and I'm over here playing records.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
I mean, that's pretty much where I stand.
Yep, for sure. All right, what is your favorite holiday tradition?
That's a good one. I just took my son to see Santa today. He was super excited about that, and it was extremely strange because Santa was in a snow globe. So he was thrilled, but I got out of the car thinking this is.
Yeah, I was wondering. I was like, I didn't think this was allowed to happen.
This is kind of awkward, but he didn't even see it that, like, he was just thrilled. So that was a good thing, I guess. Christmas morning, probably. I mean, I just, as a kid, I loved it.
Yeah.
And as an adult, watching my son do it is even more fun than it was for me. Just,
yeah,
because he always gets us up way before daylight. And
the only time a kid will wake up early, that was me anyway.
Yeah. Growing up, we would always open on Christmas Eve, and now that I have kids, I'm like, nope, we're waiting until Christmas Day.
Yeah. And so I love that. That's my favorite part of Christmas.
That's great. So, this is a hot button topic here that a lot of people are fighting about this time of year. So, for your Christmas enjoyment, are you a Mariah Carey listener or a Michael Bublé?
Oh gosh,
a real brain teaser.
If I had to choose between those two, it would be Michael Bublé. I am not a Mariah Carey fan. Especially her Christmas music.
That is a stake to my heart because I am a Mariah Carey fan. Strictly her music, Christmas music.
I'm more of like a Wham! Last Christmas kind of girl. My son's making me listen to JoJo Siwa's Christmas album right now, so that's brutal.
That's gonna be painful. Yeah. I know very little about her, but the little bit that I do know, I don't like. So, I mean,
maybe some Mariah I would prefer, but yeah.
I like to listen to heavy metal Christmas songs.
I do.
I can't remember the guy's name. Who's the guy that plays Saruman from Lord of the Rings? What's his name? Christopher? Blanking on his last name.
I don't know.
I thought you would know this.
Yeah, I should.
But anyway, he has a heavy metal Christmas album.
Nice.
It's pretty amazing. You should check that out sometime.
Maybe we should go that route.
Yeah, it's great.
That was a solid plug, Corey.
Right. Oh, yeah. One more question. Your favorite Christmas movie?
Santa Claus, the movie.
Oh, yes. We have Elf and the Santa Claus on repeat. Switching between those two.
That's my favorite.
Now, do you like the second and the third ones, or just the first one?
Hands down. So I'm talking. I'm talking about the.
Maybe we're confused.
Yeah.
You're not talking about Tim Allen.
I'm not talking about Tim Allen. No, I'm talking about Santa Claus the movie. It had who played the elf? I can't remember. So this came out in probably like 88, 89.
Oh, I was born in 91, so
97, even farther off. But I'm a classic movie fan as far as Christmas goes.
You need to check this one out. Santa Claus the movie.
I think,
and I wish I could remember who played the elf.
See, my favorite is I think it's called The Year Without Santa Claus. I just know it by Heat Miser, Snow Miser, because that duet is fire.
Dudley Moore plays the elf, and John Lithgow's in it. It's good. You guys need to put that on your list.
I wrote it down.
Santa Claus the movie.
I've never seen that one.
Fabulous.
It's just called Santa Claus. Or The Santa Claus.
It's called Santa Claus the movie.
Oh, okay, because the Tim Allen one's The Santa
Claus.
The
Santa Claus, yes. Yeah, but when people ask me that question, I've had this conversation before. That's why I was like, wait a minute, it's not the Tim Allen one, because that happens.
I never can remember if his name's Tim Allen or Tim Taylor.
Where does Taylor come from, Corey?
Home Improvement.
Home Improvement,
Oh, yeah.
Tim the Toolman Taylor.
Yeah. That's
either or.
Yeah, it works either way.
He'll answer to either one.
All right. Well, this has been awesome, and we appreciate you coming on such short notice. I think it was just yesterday whenever I contacted you. So, yeah, that's awesome.
That's because I was anxiously awaiting the phone call. Yes.
You were already prepared to come.
I was.
At the ready.
Yeah, so we appreciate you coming out today, and we look forward to all the ways that we can collaborate with the Read Spotted Newt. And that reminds me, I was going to say, how can people keep up with the Read Spotted Newt? And is there an online store anywhere they can shop that way, or how do you do that?
So I don't have a website personally yet, but I do use Bookshop. So it's bookshop.org/shop/Read Spotted Newt. All one word. You can shop there, and that's just a great way to shop anyway, because not only is it helping my store, but it's helping indie bookstores everywhere. So they give a percentage of their profits to indie bookstores. So awesome. That's a great way to shop online.
So don't go through Amazon.
Yeah, thank you. Sure. Don't. Yes, this is
Give your money to Mandi, not Jeff Bezos.
For a lot better option. And then I'm on Facebook and Instagram at Read Spotted Newt.
Awesome.
And I try to post daily things that are in the store, what's going on.
So what are some things that are in the store right now?
Events.
What's the hot items?
I've
been wanting to come get the
Barack
Obama book.
It's a hot item. Obviously all the Christmas, Night Before Christmas. Pete the Cat. Everybody loves a good Pete the Cat Christmas.
That's the cat picture that my daughter drew. It looked just like Pete the Cat because we love those books.
Yes.
What about Dory Phantasmagory? You have any of those books?
I don't.
She loves those books too. And anything by Mo Willems. She really likes those too. So those are good people.
That is. And then I have my Appalachian Lit section is solid. So I'll pat myself on the back for that one. So those sell well, all of those.
Yeah. That's what really matters though. The Appalachian literature.
Yeah.
And that may be the bookseller that I kind of steer people in that direction every time. So
only buy Appalachian books. Boycott all.
Right. Yeah. That's the one takeaway from from my sit down on the Hindman cast. Yeah. Obviously,
I think we're pretty proud of ourselves as Appalachians.
Yeah. Probably too proud, but I think it's an adequate amount.
Hey, we have a long history of not being proud, and now we are.
Yeah. Taking
cool people out there like Mandi making us proud by doing cool things like opening cool bookstores. So, Mandi, we appreciate you coming on, and thank you again.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
And with that, Mandi has left our cabin studio, and we appreciate her for coming on to the podcast this week. She come in strong and saved us. So I feel like we have to be saved quite often, but
yeah, we're the type that needs saving.
Yeah. But I feel like we've done like 1,000 episodes already, but this is just the 5th one too. Do you feel like that?
I always feel like that, Corey. It's always real exhausting. It was nice to meet a fan, though. It's, someone who's been watching the podcast, knows our bits and all the.
Yeah, that's fun. It's fun to have somebody in the world that actually listens to the things that you do and enjoys it.
Yeah, I mean,
I know there's a lot of people out there that listen, but she's very engaged.
Yeah, she knew about the origin story.
She knew about the origin story. She knew about she got your reference about the apple soup.
Oh yeah, apple soup in the beginning. That was episode 1.
It's like she pays attention to detail and listens to the whole episode. I see the statistics out there, people, and I know the majority of you aren't even making it this far into the episode to hear this part, but I'm going to say it anyway. I know the statistics, and the majority of people make it about 7 minutes before they turn us off. So we got to change that.
That feels like an attack, Corey.
I mean, it's an attack to me.
I'm always down for attacks, though. So that's fine.
All right, so we will move into our announcement section, and don't really have anything to announce because it's 2020 and there's nothing going on. But we do have, as always, to announce our holiday boxes, which so far has went really well, and I dare say has nearly killed me this week, trying to get caught up after the Thanksgiving break orders. So yeah, I'm a little tired, a little brain dead right now.
So keep hitting them with those boxes.
Yeah, and you'll just go ahead and take me down for the rest of the year probably if you do. But yeah, certainly we have plenty more in stock and more fruitcakes as well. You can check those out at www.hindman.org/shop. And there you will find the Taste of Troublesome box, which is kind of the all-inclusive box that has the most products in it. And then also the Uncle Saul's breakfast box and Miss Stone's soup and sandwich box, which has the Yoder's Country Market bread in it and is known as the best bread in the world.
Aside from Corey's bread.
Apart from my bread that I make. It's a different type of bread, though. We're out of our Verna May Shucky Bean boxes, unfortunately. So if you didn't get that, we are out. And look to next year. Hopefully we will have some more of those. So yeah, check out the holiday boxes. Check out Fruitcake. Buy those and buy them soon because before too long, Christmas is going to be here. And we will not have time to ship those to your loved ones or to you. So get that done.
It's a solid pressure right there. Time's running out. Do it now.
Time is running out.
It's like a car salesman.
Do it now.
All right.
All right. Also, we want to recognize our donors, people who've donated in the past week or so. So this past week was Giving Tuesday, and we had a pretty good day that day. We raised over $7,000. And a couple of people that we want to recognize for their donations is Jim Bell, who I just sent a box of Tadpole Hollow pickles and a fruitcake to. Jim, if you listen, I hope you enjoy that. Also, Valerie Bartley and our dyslexia program director, Ola Pigman, came through with a good donation as well. Jordan?
Oh, yeah. We also received the Kennedy Center contract for $10,000. It pays for artist residencies and children with dyslexia. So thank you, the Kennedy Center.
Yeah, thank you. As a result of that, we can get some artists come on campus and do some programming with our dyslexia students. So, yeah. That is it for this week. We thank you all for tuning in to the Hindman Cast this week and hope you enjoyed it. And my name is Corey Terry.
And I'm Jordan Collins.
And we'll see you next time.
The Hindman Cast is brought to you by the faithful and generous supporters of the Hindman Settlement School. For over 100 years, we've been celebrating heritage and changing lives in Central Appalachia. If you're interested in supporting the work of Hindman Settlement School, you can go to our website at www.hindman.org. Or you can follow us on Facebook and Instagram at the handle @Hindman School.